All right, all right. That is a TikTok jam.
Happy Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday, and it's another episode of What's Up, Teach? And Mrs. Ronnie Smith. What's up, Teach?
What's up? There's kind of a lot and yet nothing happening at the same time.
Oh, Venn diagram.
Yes.
We're on episode 5 because last week we had breaking news about the potential for school being kind of face-to-face, the hybrid for middle school and high school being put kind of on the pause. So technically episode 5, or at least on YouTube. And we're back, and even cooler, look at our emojis now. This is fine, and it's an update in the world of school. So I feel like this is us. And do you have any updates on your end of things?
Well, first of all, I don't have my headphones on today because something was going wonky with the sound, but do you get feedback from my speaker?
No.
When you talk? Okay, just making sure.
No.
Okay, so an update in the world of school. Well, there was a board meeting.
There was.
And they said they would follow the recommendations of the health department, and secondary, which is middle school and high school, will not be starting up. I don't believe they said when. I don't think they gave a time of like when we will go back. So it's probably best that you put on your best, this is fine face, and accept that this is our life now.
Yeah.
For now. It's not going to last forever. You know, even the plague had its heyday and then went away. So it won't last forever, but it's for sure not over yet. We might actually be in the worst part of it, ? According to case numbers, are there just a lot of people being tested? You know, I don't know. Bottom line, we still have to worry about the elderly population. I know my friend's grandma's really sick and she's really worried about her because of COVID, because that's what she's sick from. So it's not a big deal until it's a big deal, until it's someone that you care about. So again, like we've said many times, if you get it, you'll probably be fine. It's not like you need to be all worried or anything, but just taking safety precautions, just like you would put on a seatbelt when you go in a car. But yeah, so far the update is that you better buckle up and sit tight, and trimester 2 is going to get underway, and it's going to be online, and it's going to be great.
It's, you know, putting the try in trimester 2. We're going to just keep going with school, of course, but
December to remember.
It's a December to remember. I'm so excited. And it is one to remember that this is how we're starting trimester 2, and that, I mean, we all hope that we will get the word that we're going back to school in real life, but we also need to remember and realize that when we do come back, it's amazing when we do come back, it will be different. So you're not going to get as much screen time like with us, obviously, but face-to-face, it's going to be different too. There will be different safety measures put in. It's going to be different, but we're going to make it through. And, you know, if your teachers are out there listening, find people that are going to support you, support our SPED teachers, elementary. They're the first ones that went out. So just keep doing the best we can to support everyone. And I have to remind myself to assume good intent, like whether it's a post or whether it's a comment or whether it's just getting yourself online. Assume good intent.
Ms. Billman, do you ever go to the store and see teenagers and wonder if there are students?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I frequently see teenagers that look like they could be 8th grade, and I would not, I was about to do that. I would not recognize, like, I don't know what they look like. So if you see me in the store, this is what I look like.
Yeah. If you find me, this is me.
And you can say hi and introduce yourself. So
yeah,
just wondering. I saw Alberto one day, and this is what Alberto and I did, like. And then we both kept walking, and then he emailed me, was that you at the store? I was like, yes, that was you. It's really hard to tell. And I only knew Alberto from McClintock. So some of these kids I've never seen, or else they actually look like the black screen. I don't unless that's what they're
They
presenting as. I would not recognize them.
They're just a rectangle with white words.
Or their 6th grade picture.
That too, their 6th grade picture. I know, I did think about that. Like, I know I've seen a lot of previous students we've had or McClintock families, and I know them because I know them face to face, but maybe we'll see you in person. Then we'll be like, hey, that's somebody I know. But until then, I'll see you online. We have a very special edition of What? Which is also What's Up Teach. And it's this Thanksgiving themed, but it's all viewer questions.
Viewer questions.
Very excited about these. So we're going to go through, I believe we have like 12 or 13. I still had to save some for our next episodes, but this is going to be a bulk of what we're doing. So first up from Caden. Caden, we actually had him in 6th grade. So back at it again. How long have you guys been friends? Oh, this is our 3rd school.
Yeah. 3rd school, 10th year, we said?
Yeah, well, I think it's our 9th first day, right? Because we had 3 at Ochoa, 5 at McClintock. Yeah, 1 at Reynolds.
Okay, so 9th year?
Yeah.
9th year, we started working together at Ochoa. We were both hired that year in Pasco and teaching 6th grade. And then it's just morphed since then. We've shared a room.
Yes,
We've been, now for some reason, we're like all the way down the hall from each other. I don't know who wanted to torture us, but yeah, we've been friends a while.
I know. Well, and I saw all like the other ELA teachers are down the hall.
I think someone wanted us to get our steps in.
It's working. It's working. You can see me just running down there, and then Mrs. Smith coming because I have a sink.
Yeah, I have to go down there to get water and clean my dishes.
I need to do that. I need to do that before break. Yeah, I can't believe it. You know what? I don't even know what is the gift for a 9-year anniversary.
Oh, well, I think it's pedicures.
That's right. We talked about for Christmas.
That's what we're going to do for Christmas is go get a pedicure.
So jazzed. So jazzed. And thanks.
Wait, are they open? Wait, are they open?
Oh, yeah, babe. I hope.
I don't know. Okay. Well, whenever they're open, we'll go.
Whenever they're open, we'll go get our like talons shaved. Or I guess I would need like a farrier. Isn't that somebody who does like horses? Yeah, like horseshoe. That would be I do. So thanks, Caden, for submitting that question. Next question from Benjamin. He's like a multiple submitter. What Netflix series do you want to never end? Oof.
That is a loaded question because sometimes you can have too much of a good thing. So like one of my favorite series of all time is Arrested Development. So if you haven't watched it, which a lot of you kids maybe haven't because it's from around when you were born, it's super funny, but then Netflix tried to bring it back and they restarted it a couple years ago and it wasn't as good. It was not as good. So I'll percolate on it. I can't think of another one that I would never want to end. How about you, Miss Billman?
I absolutely love Schitt's Creek. That is, but I do think it would fall under the too much of a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, I think if it had maybe a movie, then I could be happy. I mean, I was already happy with how it ended.
I want to know what the kids don't want to end. So if they would comment on here, I want to know what the children's would watch without ending. I already know some of them would be watching Grey's Anatomy because it won't end. Is it ever scheduled to end?
I think never.
It's like a soap opera at this point. What other show?
Okay,
well,
I thought of
but a lot of kids watch that. What'd you think?
I thought of one that I desperately need another season of. Indian Matchmaker.
Oh.
Or it was Indian Matchmaking. I loved that show.
That was a good show. That was a good one.
I'm really into 60 Days In right now. So like I'm trying to make that work in between watching Harry Potter. The two do not go together.
Wait, you're watching Harry Potter?
I told third period that I would try and watch them. I'm not going to read them, but I will also say I watched the first one and I was like, these graphics suck. But then I remembered I've only seen the first episode. I've only seen the first movie. I saw it in theaters. So like
Back when
that movie,
theaters were a thing?
and it was the theater where in Richland, like in the Uptown, like back when that was a theater.
Wow.
Yeah, like that was at least
That was a
1,000
while.
years. At least 1,000. But
Yeah.
tell us what series you guys are like, ooh, gotta have them. Like,
Yeah, I want to know what the kids are watching.
what are the kids up to?
Kids with a Z. I want to know what they're watching.
The children's. Thanks, Benjamin. Next up, what are your thoughts on the coronavirus from Archer? He is a loyal fan. He's a scriber. He's a scriber.
Thank you, Archer. This feels like a trap. Um,
Yeah, I feel like you're setting us
I
up.
like what Ms. Billman says. The coronavirus, it's not over just because you're over it. I think we're all pretty much over it, but it's not over. I think I keep saying we're at the part of the movie, if this whole thing is a movie, where it's going to spread, which is what's happening. So I'm pretty sure now it's going to just spread a lot and more people are going to get it. And then a rich, good-looking celebrity will come up with the vaccine and be like the person that endorses it. And then we'll all be like, thank you so much, Ryan Gosling.
Oh, yeah, he would be the one.
Wait, Ryan Gosling or Gosling?
Gosling, because it's John Gosling.
Thank you. Okay, I'm always afraid I'm going to say it wrong. Okay.
The mesh of two.
So I personally think the vaccine is around the corner. Some people are going to get it. Some people are not. That's your own choice. I don't know. I'm probably in the I'm over it category, but I know it's not over. So I got a dog instead, and I'm going to go get a new car. You know what? I'm just distracting myself.
You're doing the most. You're doing the most.
What do you do, Ms. Stillman, to deal with the coronavirus?
Oh, geez. Well, I bought a Peloton. And
oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Thoughts on it? The pandemic isn't over just because you're over it.
Mm-hmm.
That's another TikTok song. Really showing my boomer. I'm an elder millennial.
Elder millennial. You know what else, though? There's been so many good things we've learned.
Yeah.
I have learned, this is going to sound silly, but I've learned how to help my kids with their homework.
Yeah.
I was the kind of student that like no one had to help me. I just did my schoolwork. So when I had my children and they didn't pop out like that, I was like, who's you? Like, I don't know what to say because why aren't you doing this?
Right.
It's different when you teach as a job, like when we do schoolwork or I send messages or whatever. That's different than at home with my own kids. So this whole thing has taught me how to really sit down with them and help them manage their time. Because I don't really need my help, but for some reason they want me to sit there and be like, okay, what are we working on next? But they don't need my help, but they want me there. I'd also like to know how many of the children operate that way. Is it just my kids, and are they pulling my leg? Do they actually just want my attention? I would
know.
I have so many questions for the children, actually.
I do too. Oh my gosh, we'll talk about, we're going to have like as students on here, but
yeah, and then I'm going to ask them a bunch of questions. So basically, I've learned how to be a better parent, though, honestly.
But that is a big takeaway.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm different now.
Different. I think, along the same lines of, I probably like the least patient person I know. And I think I've had to learn to have some patience with things, like to make things happen. And that's been something that's come out of it. And I mean, I don't know if I mentioned it, I got a Peloton. Because it's one of those things, like if you are like vegan or vegetarian, you have to tell people once you get one, you have to mention it.
Got to bring it up, like CrossFit.
You have to. You have to. And I mean, I've spent more time with my family and my pets than ever.
Do you start sentences like, so the other day when I was on my Peloton?
Yeah. So it's one time I was on my Peloton. Cody Rigsby, my friend Cody. What's your leaderboard name? I'm one of those people now. I'm in too many. And I guess I've learned to appreciate the time that I do have with people. And I mean, there are some things that I miss, but I also have really gotten to love takeout and trying to go to small businesses to support them. And I mean, do I think the coronavirus is just a corona loser? Yeah, it's a big old loser. But I mean, at this point, I personally can't change things by myself. I can be part of a movement of change, but We just all have to come together. So, wow, thanks, Archer, for submitting that question.
A loaded question.
Loaded question. They're going to clip that together to make some propaganda. And then, did you hear what they said? They said that the Peloton started it and that Mrs. Ronia Smith is a parent. Did you hear that?
They're going to clip it of just us saying over and over, because I'm over it. Because I'm over it. Because I'm over it.
Oh, gosh. I mean, tag me in it. Tag us in it if you do that.
If it's about me, then at me.
Need that on a sticker. Okay, next one is from Triana. What is a funny story that happened to you whilst you were teaching? So many. I was showing The Lion King, which I definitely have not done in many moons or like ever since this point. I think it was my first year. And we're watching it and I'm like, this is so great, Disney classic. This was also before like whatever new one came out. And the kids were like, oh, stop the movie. I'm like, what? That's a good part. And then they were asking like, well, where does Simba poop? And I was like, what? And they're like, well, yeah, nowhere in this movie did they show any of these animals going to the bathroom. So now I can't see any of those movies ever again.
I bet you there's a whole like subreddit about that, or that could be like the mysteries of Disney. I bet that's a TikTok compilation or something.
Has to be. I mean, there's some other funny things that even, going to kindergarten and asking what's your favorite holiday, and the little girl says beach ball, and like I will forever remember that. Like, so summer, that's not even a holiday. 4th of July, I don't know, but things like that. But that, where do they poop?
It's hard to remember in the spur of the moment, or like on the spot like that. There's funny moments every day. Like, the kids are funny. That's part of why I like this job. Probably my funny moment from this year was when I was home doing my Zoom classes and my little boys were sick, and most of the kids have heard this. The little boys were sick, and so my teenagers were watching them. That doesn't sound so hard, right? Watching them for 2 hours while I Zoom. Is it even 2 hours? I think it's 2 hours. Or whatever, however long it is, and 3 hours. And so I said, just watch them. I'll be down in a minute, blah, blah, blah. And next thing I know, remember they're sick. So the 3-year-old had what we call at our house a poop-tastrophe. And my son, that's a freshman, does not deal with poop. He's a germaphobe. So he was like, this is out of my pay grade. I'm not doing it. And he brought him to me, and I'm on Zoom. So you're like, just a sec. And then I panicked. Like, I didn't know, I've never had that happen. Like, I don't know about these Zoom emergencies. So I didn't know what to do. Like, do I go ask the teacher across the hall to take over for me while I go deal with an emergency? That's what I would do in real life. So my mind went there, and I thought, who's the teacher across the hall? My son. So I stick my son on the Zoom and I said, play a game with them. They'll like you. And I went and dealt with the poop-tastrophe. And the first thing I heard my son say to them was, everybody turn on your cameras. And they did. And that's when I knew. These kids will only listen to each other. So yeah, they turned their cameras on. It's the happiest I've ever seen that class. I think it was my 4th period, I think. And afterward, they said they liked him more than me. So
yeah,
good for them. You know what? He's not as smart as me, so it doesn't even matter.
Good for them. So many moments to reflect on.
There's a lot of funny times.
So many. I can't believe all it took was a child. So now I just need to roll up as a fellow child. Turn your cameras on and it's going to work.
It was eerie. Like, I didn't like it. I didn't like knowing that was, I thought kids couldn't turn on camera. Like, I don't know.
I thought they were all broken.
That maybe their hands are broken.
Yeah, they dropped them off somewhere. Yeah.
They're so shy. But then like another teenager gets on and they're like, what's up? What's up? So it was weird.
How does that?
I feel very played on many levels.
Yeah. So, trimester 2, put a little oomph in your turning your screen on.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up is, what's your favorite drink and why? From Monique. We both have Monique in class.
That's right.
I mean, I love a good festive, like hot chocolate, like the creme brulee one from Starbucks. That's a favorite of mine. Or Yeah, I mean, just a regular Starbucks hot cocoa with vanilla. I mean, not that hard. But what about you,
I
Mr. Smith?
really resist the urge almost daily to go to Dutch Brothers for their Christmas morning chai.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I that's a lot of sugar. So I would rather not drink my calories. So I don't drink a lot of the drink. You know, I try not to. I try
Yeah.
not to indulge that often. But that drink, like it's warm, it smells good. It has like cinnamon in it. I love tea. So
It does.
that's just probably my favorite drink. And then Evie, my daughter Evie and I will last year when we were at the school together, would go by Dutch Brothers. And if they forget the whipped cream, dead to me.
Riot.
Why
Riot.
even like why not err on the side of giving people whipped cream? Like why do I have to request that? I feel like that's a given.
Right.
But that's a
Put it on
nother
there.
whole nother episode.
That's a topic I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not? Up next, how does binary code work? No idea.
Wait, is that a computer thing?
I think is it like the 101? I don't know.
Oh gosh, Matthew, can I just give you my son's information? It actually freaks me out when he sits there and is like, because I think he's like going to explode the world, or I don't know. It just people that can look at the screens of that's just different. It's like another language. I wish they could get a foreign language credit for it in high school.
That's a great idea, though.
Yeah, but you know what? I admire anyone that can make sense of that. Like that's a talent, and yeah.
I'd have to ask my sister. So I got nothing, but I'm open to learning.
Same.
Up next from Ivy, what is the hardest thing you've ever done?
Oh, Ivy. So many. That's a great question.
I could say teach online during a pandemic.
It's right up there.
It's right up there.
I mean, it was hard at first, but it wasn't
I mean, we get it, right?
It wasn't traumatic. Hardest thing I've ever done. Honestly, I'm just going to be real with everybody right now. It was probably going through my divorce. I had a calendar in my room, and I would mark off each day, just like I survived the day. My kids were little. They were upset. It was just a really hard time. And so, but I started running, and I ran some 5Ks, and I really pushed myself to look for the good side, much like right now. Mm-hmm. Looking for the good side and the good that came of it. But definitely that was hard to get through each day. Some of you might feel like that right now. Like, I encourage you, use a calendar. If you feel like you're kind of like a balloon floating off into space, look at each day, mark it off on the calendar. What did you do today? What did you get done? Just putting one foot in front of the other. And you'll come out the other side a better person, really, truly. So anybody that's going through something hard like that, I feel like I learned that lesson, which was it does make you stronger. It makes you a better person. And you can't always see that when you're in the middle of it.
It's true, in the middle. That was so like just there. Like
if you went there, that was a deep question, and I just went for it.
Transparent and honest.
Transparent.
You know, I was probably gonna say going to college knowing no one. That was pretty hard, and then like, you know, finishing living in Nebraska for 5 years and then coming back and like still feeling like you knew no one, even though of course I knew people, but everyone was different. So I mean, I was kind of like Mrs. Rennie Smith, where I got myself to like, what's free? I could go outside and go running. I ate ramen like every day. That was really hard. It's
kind of like the experience these kids will go through when they go to high school, maybe.
Yeah.
So everything kind of gets turned upside down. The groups that you're in, you're kind of respawning. You might have new friends. You might have the same friends. You might feel like your friends leave you. Like there's a lot of that happens.
Yeah. Great question.
We need to have Ivy as a guest. She'd be like a real Dr. Phil type, I feel like. She'd be like, but how did you feel?
I would just start crying. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's have her on.
Okay.
What are your favorite books? I have like many like books that I enjoy, and I'm not surprised this is from Evan Martin.
I want to know what Evan's favorite books are.
Oh, he's like a library. So Evan needs to tell us his favorite book.
We could have him on as a specialist every time to plug a book.
I guess like recent book that I did the Audible of was Ghost Boys. That was quite good. I liked audiobooks. So what about you, Mrs. Aroni Smith?
Lately, my favorite books right now are I dug out my Christmas books. So I have a little tub of Christmas books that I always get out with my own kids. And over the last few years, hard to believe, but they lost interest.
No.
So it's been fun to get them back out with my 3 and 4-year-old, and they're just lots of different Christmas stories. So that's what I'm reading right now. I'm not really reading a grown-up book at the moment. But Miss Spillman and I read some this summer. It's a little bit harder when you work full time to find the reading time. Reading is like naps. You know how when kids are little, they're like, why do I have to? But then when you're an adult, you're like, I wish I had time for a nap. Reading's kind of the same way. Like your parents maybe forced you in elementary school to read 30 minutes a day. And you're like, this is so long. Except for Evan, because he loves reading. But even people that love reading, it can feel like a chore. So then you're an adult and you're like, I just wish I had time to read.
Truly. Yeah. If there was just like one more hour in the day,
I'd read.
I mean, now that I've discovered like Audible, I'll do audiobooks, but to find one for funsies, I'm like, I need someone else to read it first. So I actually have, I guess, more. This is so cheesy. Even though like my favorite books, I have like great books that I've read in the past. I happen to think the Thrill of Horror stuff we've done has been a lot of fun in class.
I liked that as well. I also really like. Oh, excuse me.
Bless you.
I keep sneezing today. No other symptoms. Just probably allergies. I also really like anything that's like based on a true story. So like I read Free Centoya this summer, and it was about like things that are Netflix specials, but they're based on books, or especially true crime, stuff like that.
The book that Mindhunter is based off of, so good because everyone loves killers. And that's the show. No, I'm kidding. It's not.
A good mystery. A good mystery.
Let's see. What are your thoughts on neopronouns? What would yours be? We had to do some research.
Liliana stumped us on this one. We had to go look it up. I still think I can't answer until I get a little bit more information. So I actually need Liliana to prepare a PowerPoint about neopronouns.
Yeah.
So Liliana, if you do that, you can present it on an episode of What?
Yeah. Mrs. Aroni Smith and I are trainers for WEA doing the microaggression and implicit bias training. So we knew about pronouns. So like I put my pronouns in my, cause I'm trying to be like inclusive and like show people I know what's up. I put them in my Instagram. So, a she, her, hers. And then I like to roll out with like Her Majesty, Her Royal Highness. I'll take any of those. I actually heard someone else say that. And now I want to say it too. But I mean, I don't know everything. So if you have more information, I think it's great when people say like, this is how I would prefer to be called. Cool. I will do that. Like, of course I'm not going to tell you no.
Well, we looked it up and there was a long list and I thought I did not know that, but then it made me start thinking about how I kind of like time period movies or, so I would kind of have a throwback to like, I want to be called thy or thine. Yeah. And then I thought, wait, people that really freak out about pronouns changing aren't thinking about how much they've already changed.
Yeah.
So if you look back in literature, pronouns have always been evolving. And so will we evolve? Here's a good question. I think that it will be really hard to have a long list of pronouns we're all supposed to remember. That's just my thought. Mm-hmm. But I would like to know more about neopronouns. But will we get to the point in our language where we don't have gender-specific pronouns, but we just have inclusive pronouns that include everyone?
And language is always changing. Mm-hmm.
It's evolving.
Like, I love saying whilst or amongst, and people aren't throwing those out. Also, like even in Canada, like color with a U, like, and we're in America, so we're like, get rid of it. No. Well, like I can't say like that pronoun doesn't exist when it does. It does.
We're kind of like the people that say, I love change. Just kidding. I just like when other people change.
We a land of like consuming ideas, consumers
Yes.
and consuming ideas, and then saying no, not us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like more information. I would.
Same.
Okay. Whew. Do you guys have kids, pets? What are their names? Who's your favorite student? From Vanessa. Vanessa, I know you asked that because we had somebody else ask it to Mrs. Ronnie Smith. I am my favorite student because I'm always a learner. I'm always a learner, always a leader. I don't have kids, but darn it, I have a zoo of pets. I have Winnie, Graham, Penny. Frank is my parents' dog, but he kicks it with us. Conrad, Grandma Lola, Nima Lola, Conrad, Lola, Toby, Poppy, got Thumper kicking it in the back. Like too many.
A menagerie.
Menagerie, a petting zoo of sorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kids because those animals take up my time.
I have a menagerie of children, so I'll just go, let's see. You can kind of see on my wall. Kind of see it there. So I have 3 kids. My husband has 2 kids, so together we have 5 kids, and I'll just tell you their ages. They're 12. Ooh, it's a test. I keep asking my son, are you 15? He's like, I'm 14. I'm like,
I remember.
you look so old. Well, anyway, 12, 14, 17, 18, and 20. So I have 5 kids, and then I have 2 little foster kids on loan, and they're 3 and 4. And then I have a lot of animals too. We have, my daughter has a league of guinea pigs, and they have their own shed outside. We have 3 dogs, 2 cats that aren't allowed into the house. I actually have 3 turtles, and if anybody wants turtles, I'm trying to rehome them because nobody pays attention to them, and I'm worried that they're going to die. So 3 red-eared sliders that I have had them like 13 years.
Wow.
But we just have too many animals right now. My daughter is really going gangbusters with the guinea pigs, and so it's really hard to remember to feed them, and I don't know. So if somebody wants to take better care of them, I would be willing to let them go. And then we have a lizard. We have a lot of animals and a lot of kids in our house. So favorite student? Well, I don't think you asked me. I think you only asked Ms. Billman that. So.
And I am my favorite student. So student of the earth. And our final question, what are 2 things you're thankful for, and your favorite meal on Thanksgiving from Monique?
You can go first, Ms. Billman.
2 things I'm thankful for, peace and quiet.
Listen and silent.
No, yeah, spelled backwards. I am thankful for time. That is for certain. Thankful for time, whether I feel like it's testing me or not. Always thankful for time. And I'm thankful for my family and friends that become family. So, and my favorite meal on Thanksgiving, oh boy. I really love mashed potatoes. I think this year I am making my corn casserole, so I'll probably just eat all of that. And sue me, I like dark meat. So,
Oh, fight me. Okay.
Fight me. And like crispy turkey skin. Just thinking about it.
Man, I'm thankful for friends and family, and I know Ms. Billman would agree with me here. I'm also thankful for my job and the kids we get to work with. I feel like it helps, as annoying as the Zoom is, or how much as people hate it, it keeps us all connected. Mm-hmm. And I've just been pleasantly surprised by everything the students do. I was a little worried about 8th grade. I've never done it before. I thought they'd be mean. But they have been really pleasant and funny.
Yeah, I love this grade.
I really like it. I like that we can talk about scary stories and nobody cries. I mean, in front of us anyway. I just have really enjoyed that. And then favorite meal, My mom makes her turkey, mashed potatoes, gravy, and stuffing. And my family gets together this year. Of course, we're not, and my mom is staying home. But my cousin is still going to come over. We still see her because she helps us watch the kids. But we all insisted, and I already have 9 people in my family, so it's a party right there. Um, so we all insisted that she still make it. We're just going to go pick it up. How mean is that? Like, we won't even make our own dinner. We're like, Mom, can you still make it? And we'll come get it.
Making it.
Yeah. So shout out to my mom. I told her to make herself a plate, like take her part out and then give us the rest. I also really like when my aunt makes tamales. So I am not the best chef. I thought I was like decent as a cook or chef, if you will, until my son got old enough to cook. And he's like, so when you make that, why don't you tenderize the meat? I was like, you can. I just don't put the extra effort in. So I'm tenderizing meat now. He's sending me TikToks of how to make birria.
Oh, yeah. There's a place in the Tri-Cities that does it.
He's like, yeah, this is what I want to eat. And I always just make regular old tacos, like nothing special. So he's making me step up my game. He does help, but he told me the other day if he ever was into the bad fortune of getting married, if that befell him, that horrible fortune, he would probably have to cook because like no one else pays attention like he does.
Oh. You know, my sister will be cooking.
Oh, yeah, that's your sister, too.
Oh, she's a fantastic cook.
Such sevens.
Yeah, I think they can focus on the details, and they really know how food, like, can taste. I'm convinced, like, she has made food that I like better, and she has classic meals that I'm like, will you please make that again? That's my favorite. Like Ashley's autumnal meals. Oh gosh, like I've given up. I love her cooking. I love her.
Does she make you venture out into things you wouldn't have eaten?
Sometimes I get crazy and I'll eat like whatever she makes, but there are some things where I'm like, I can't eat that like it just smells spicy.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna eat anything weird, but my son definitely is like, let's make salmon tonight. I'm like, I wouldn't have thought to do that. I go for the easiest route. Like I know everyone will eat chicken nuggets, so like I'm really good with little kids. Like that I'm fine with. But I don't really like making food that people aren't going to eat and then having to throw it away. So I don't take a lot of risk. But now that my kids are teenagers, they are requesting some riskier food.
Yeah, I would say Ashley's like a food risk taker, and she's like helped us all get there too. So.
Yeah, it's good. It's kind of a good
I appreciate
encouragement. I think I ate SpaghettiOs until well into my 20s. Now I can't eat SpaghettiOs. Like there's just, I can't. But into my 20s, sure, SpaghettiOs. Like I have no refined taste.
Oh, I need to work on mine because I'm typically a picky eater. But
SpaghettiOs?
I would. I think I've only had them like a handful of times.
Oh, I used to think they were really good. That's embarrassing.
Oh,
I bet a lot of the children
like an elevated version of it. Homemade noodles.
Yeah.
Oh man. Wow. Now I'm starving. So thanks, Monique. I can't believe it, but that's the end of our 5th episode and some things on here. So make sure you keep sending in your questions. We will still continue to have the forums on Teams. Subscribe to our channel. And next week is Mrs. Aronia Smith doing a presentation on a topic she wants to talk about.
Okay, and we might have student guests. It says we'll have a form of interest. Yeah. Liliana, I still would really like you to make a PowerPoint about the pronouns.
Yeah.
And I would say if anybody has a good idea of topics you want to talk about, send us your PowerPoint. We'll consider it. Yeah,
send it, and I will put a form on Teams to be on the lookout if you're like dying to be a guest. This does mean like you're gonna have to meet not during class, but probably during some async time.
During async, you have to turn on your camera.
Yeah, that's part of it too. You're gonna have the camera turned on.
But look at us. We're living our best life. I mean, it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. You're gonna do great, and we're excited to have some of you guys on here. So I'm gonna go ahead and play our exiting
Closing
song.
music.
Of course, gotta find a good one, right? We'll see if,
I'm ready.
and we'll see you guys next time.